On both sides. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you right now to keep this fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck for the SWAT day. Touch them up.
What the fuck is going on? I think it's that time again, Jeff.
It's that time again.
I think it's time for Have Fun on the Indies.
Exactly.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our, second episode?
Yes, second episode.
Our second episode of Have Fun on the Indies, where we talk about all pro wrestling. Sometimes we get a little bit off track, but it's mostly pro wrestling. I'm Abe.
I'm Jeff.
And, I say we get this shit started.
Yep.
It's No Mercy Weekend.
It is No Mercy Weekend. It's been a big pay-per-view.
So that's something we're going to talk about. I also want to talk about William Regal made his way to the Indies
yes,
for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Let's definitely talk about that.
We're going to talk about that a little bit because apparently somebody hacked one of his emails, but we'll get into that.
It's 21st century. Anyways, first and foremost, Bobby Heenan has passed away in the last week since we've done our last podcast, September 17th. And he died at the age of 72, surrounded by his family in his home. He had organ failure with the complications for his throat cancer that he'd been battling for very, very many years and very long time.
Man, if there was ever a person that the pro wrestling gods took too early, it was him. You know, they didn't take him too early. He lived a long, full life. He was a legend in the wrestling business, and he's a person that I grew up watching. I watched that guy a lot. I didn't watch him early on in his career, but I watched all his managerial stuff that he used to do. Dear God, and it's happening. All the old school guys are fading away, and the art of a lot of the art for certain sections of pro wrestling is dying, just like the art of being a manager.
Yes,
shit's dying.
Yes.
There is not a lot of people that play that right. Even when WWE tries to give someone a chance at it, it always ends up just fading.
It always kind of feels like the same generic thing.
The same thing over and over, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we're not going to delve too deep into this.
Yeah.
Reason being, we just want to remember him for the good times. Yep. And, there's no need. He was a legend. Everybody knows it. Plenty of people have talked about this. And I'm just going to give you one quick memory. One of the things that I loved about Bobby Heenan was he was a manager of Ric Flair for a while. He really lobbied really hard for Ric Flair to be in the WWE. He would come out and do these badass promos about Ric Flair being the real world wrestling the real world heavyweight champion. Yep, those were wonderful. But while all that is fun and great, my favorite memories, believe it or not, was when he was a manager for Mr. Perfect. And I remember for a while there, Mr. Perfect had like a couple of matches. He had one, for example, with Texas Tornado. He had a little feud with Texas Tornado. Mm-hmm. Bobby the Brain Heenan was his manager. And dude, you see the genius come out in that guy. That guy was a freaking genius. Everything he did in that ring, his expressions, the way he would yell, everything. I will always remember those moments. And I also remember the Mr. Perfect being managed by Bobby Heenan when he would wrestle guys like Tito Santana. And Bobby Heenan played the douchebag manager, and he played it perfect. Yeah. Bobby, rest in peace. Hey, thank you, because you're one of the people that got me into this wrestling business in terms of, you're one of the people that made me want to watch it. You're one of the people that made me want to say, fuck soccer practices. I want to watch, pro wrestling.
I want to watch wrestling. Yeah.
Anywho, speaking of guys that no longer wrestled, but their careers continued for a while longer, William Regal. Just like Bobby Heenan was a wrestling manager, William Regal is still in the wrestling business, even though he doesn't really wrestle a lot. So apparently this past summer, he went to it might be old news. Here, you know what? Before we continue, I'm going to say this. On this show, sometimes we talk about old news. Sometimes we talk about new news. We talk about whatever we want. We don't have limits here. So, not to be a dick, I don't want to get a bunch of fucking emails and a bunch of tweets and a bunch of Facebook messages talking about, oh, that's old news. That's old news. Hey, you don't like the show? Don't watch it. Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, so here we go. William Regal. Apparently he made his way to a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show this past summer.
Battle of Los Angeles.
One of their big shows, right?
Yes, the biggest tournament of the year for them. A very big tournament in the Indies.
Yes. And he went there, and apparently a lot of people were asking him, questions and wanting to learn from him. He gave them their advice. And here's what William Regal said, because apparently one of his emails got leaked, and apparently people threw a big fit over one of his emails being leaked. So this is William Regal's response to his, email being leaked. So he's just trying to clear up the fact that he's not a fucking asshole, and he was giving constructive criticism, which apparently these days is such a fucking hard thing to accept. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people are wrong. Sometimes if you're in the wrestling business, you're fucking wrong. You might have been there 12 years, and this guy might have been there 5 years, but guess what? He might just fucking know something.
Yeah.
So, anywho, William Regal, this is his response to his email being leaked. I have just been informed that an email had been leaked that contained a quote from me. I had been asked recently by several people about my visit to the recent Bola tournament by PWG. When asked, I told everyone the same. I proceeded to tell them how incredibly hard everyone worked and how much I enjoyed the show. I was asked the same question by everyone. One that was asked universally was anything that stood out. I answered that the only problem is that there are too many great bouts, and I don't envy any of the talent because everything was so good, and trying to top it must be really difficult. So we're gonna talk about that real quick. I'm sorry. Apparently he's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, look, I understand a company like Ring of Honor, maybe Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. They're a very aggressive style of pro wrestling. A lot of their matches are very aggressive. A lot of forearms, a lot of crazy strikes, a lot of high-risk maneuvers, a lot of drivers. I think that's awesome.
Yes.
I applaud them for that. My issue is there any way you think... I think a good promoter would know how to build a card up the way you build a match up.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? You don't start the first match and blow your load the first match.
Exactly.
And then every single match is going to be almost impossible to beat that match.
It's going to be all Wrestle Kingdom 11 all the way through.
One of the things that when I wrestled, one of the few things that people did right was they
booked the card.
Yeah, they booked. One of the few things that people did right is that they didn't.
Way to
they
build
didn't,
up.
Yeah,
right.
Is that no? Here you go. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't smoke pot. Also, okay, so the thing is, they build their card right. Right. It's very hard to build a card.
Yes.
It's very hard to build the card up the proper way.
Well, it's hard to know.
You build it up like a wrestling match, right? And what I notice is that today, a lot of wrestlers don't know their place on the card. Guess what, dude? It might suck if somebody tells you got a job. It might suck if you're the middle of the show and they're telling you, have a good match, but don't steal the fucking, show.
Exactly.
I wasn't around in the locker room back in the NWA days and the territory days, but I almost feel like back in the days the guys knew their place on the card.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you know your place on the card and you do your place well, there's possibilities that the promoter looks at you and says, you know what? That guy did well where I put him. I might give him a better chance.
Let's see if he can do better later on the card.
Exactly. Anywho, continuing with the William Regal stuff. I made mention to several people and several on the Bola show who asked for advice. That one thing I noticed was that they could have grabbed people's attention with the quality of their collar and elbow tie-ups, lockups. I proceeded to show several talent who asked a few ways to help. This information has been used by other people to explain ideas to talent they are working with, and some of it appeared in today's leaked email. This long-winded note is just my way of explaining it. I didn't want anything taken out of context. Dude, basically all he's saying is, how about we slow it down a little bit and let the people be able to enjoy their meal instead of boom, 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 forearm, driver, moonsault, and the people don't even get a chance to swallow any of that in.
Yeah.
It's just move after move after move. Not to mention the fact that the next match is probably looking at you like, what the fuck?
Like, oh, damn.
What the fuck I gotta do now?
What do I gotta do now, yeah.
Oh, I know, fucking brainbuster on the ground. Because that's what the fans want, right? Blood.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little bit ridiculous, man.
Yeah, PWG is known for that kind of stuff. But William Regal was not. It was constructive criticism, and that's all it really was. And anybody that is offended by that, apparently you're a PC. Let's move on. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on. Right now we're going through all these dirt sheets. We're on pwinsider.com, which is our favorite website to visit in terms of wrestling news.
Dirt sheet.
They don't endorse us. I'm not saying we probably say stuff they don't agree with or whatever. We just like them, and that's where we're at. We're just giving props to where we're getting our stuff from.
Our opinions are solely our own. So.
Exactly. Anyways, I saw this headline today, Jeff.
Yes. I heard about this a while back. I hadn't seen this yet, but let's see what this means.
National Wrestling Alliance ownership updates.
Complete ownership? Question mark?
Apparently, there was like a big legal battle over who takes over the name NWA. Apparently now it sounds like it's settled.
Let's see. It says here, the National Wrestling Alliance era, under Billy Corgan's ownership will officially kick off 10/1. So October 1st, in a few days from now. All of the member promotions who had licenses to use the NWA initials and branding under the company's Bruce Thorpe ownership will end the day before. Going forward, as of 10/1, the NWA will be whatever it's deemed to be under Corgan and Dave Lagana's leadership.
Okay, so those two guys are the official owners of it now, right?
The actual NWA.
Okay. You know, that's kind of cool. The NWA has a big, long history, but somewhere along the way, man, out of this, you know, from all the years when they were on top all the way till now, the NWA's fucking... It feels like it's been raped by every promoter... you know, on the planet. Like, everybody uses that name now.
Anybody's second cousin that had a stake in the NWA still owns a piece of the name NWA. Literally.
That's what I'm saying, though, man. It's like, I swear to God, I've been to, like, a million NWA shows.
I've seen a million different things called NWA.
It's very weird. But you know what? So didn't Corgan also have a little bit of an issue with TNA at one point?
Corgan,
I don't know the details, but
before Dixie Carter found some chump to buy TNA, he had given her a lot of money to basically buy TNA. Then something happened where she backed out, said he could not buy TNA. There was a big lawsuit, and
wow.
I'm pretty sure he got all of his money back, which he turned around to try to buy this thing that everyone owns.
All I gotta say to... Go on.
I hope that it turns out well, because the National Wrestling Alliance has a great, rich history dating back, to the early 1900s?
Yeah.
All of the champions that were ever a champion that made wrestling what it is was the NWA. So I hope that this is a good start, new for the NWA, and that we see them
also, you
prosper.
know, you got to give Billy Corgan a little bit of props for fighting so hard to be part of the wrestling business, because, man, I don't know too many people that are willing to lose that much money. Because we all know you get in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
If you're in the wrestling business... the good first decade, you're probably losing money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember he had tried to purchase ECW before it had went bankrupt years ago. So Corgan loves wrestling. It is in a good place. TNA had gotten more interesting when he was involved in it for me.
See, I missed that. I missed that era of when he was there. Okay. So we're almost done with this, with the dirt sheets right now.
Yep. For this week and what?
The last thing we're going to talk about for the dirt sheets, because it is... We might go after the... We might go down the No Mercy card, just real quick.
Yeah.
But the last one for dirt sheet's not even a dirt sheet. It's Mike Johnson reported that Asuka's Raw debut. Apparently she's going to be on television now, off NXT on
main roster.
Main roster. Very well deserved.
Yes.
Very well deserved. And I don't just mean because of that beating she took like she was a housewife.
The eyes of Minoru Suzuki stare at me as we say that.
Yeah, I'll say it again, ladies and gentlemen. Minoru Suzuki versus Asuka in Japan. Watch it. Tell me that shit's not abuse.
It's a domestic violence charge.
Anyways, former WWE NXT champion Asuka will officially debut for the Raw brand at the WWE TLC pay-per-view on October 22nd in Minneapolis.
All right.
Oh, that's kind of cool, no?
Yes.
I wonder who his opponent's going to be, but I'm very happy for that.
Yes, I'm
she
very
seems
happy
she deserves.
She
seems like a super hard worker.
Yes, I know that she was injured, and that's the real reason why she is no longer in NXT. But I'm glad that they're giving her a good enough time frame to heal up. It's been a couple of months. I might be 3 months by the time she's going to debut. That's a good time frame to get your rest and your regrowth in.
You're right, but you know what else is crazy? I forgot to talk about this. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was bouncing up and down all over the world. Cody Rhodes was bouncing up and down all over the United States.
Speaking of Minoru Suzuki, Cody Rhodes?
Yeah.
Anyways, continue, please.
But yeah, Cody Rhodes apparently has signed a long-term deal with, drumroll please, Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
You know what? That's actually pretty cool. I'm happy for him, man. Cody Rhodes was always a talented guy. Mm-hmm. He is making probably a lot of money now.
He is the most popular person
I mean?
on the indies, maybe ever.
And it says right here that it was the most lucrative Ring of Honor contract in the history of the company.
Well,
but Ring of Honor is getting their money's worth because he's going to be there for a couple of years. He said he's going to be there for a couple of years. He signed for a couple of years. He'll still be able to wrestle for New Japan and a lot of the other companies, but
that ROH works with.
Yeah, but good for him.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm happy about? I'm happy that there's a career outside of WWE.
Yes,
that you can make a career outside of WWE, because there was a big long stretch of time where you could not make a living unless you were in WWE. Is it hard? Almost. Yes, it's still hard, but it's a little bit different. There's a lot of work. All these fucking mom and pops indie shows are all of a sudden drawing like 900 people. I'm looking in the crowd like, what the fuck? Where were these people when I was there? All I remember is fucking slack-jawed yokel and shit people like 10 people in the crowd.
Packed indies.
Yeah,
most of these shows we see
right.
now.
Packed indies, and some of them may be comped, but dude, people are fucking showing up. There was indie shows where you got to donate a goddamn can, and people still didn't show up. Here, donate your canned good, and people still didn't show up.
Not even charity.
So I'm very happy that these days
there is places.
The indies thriving. All
right.
And one last thing before we get to what we're going to get to next. I forgot to mention this. For these past couple days, there's been earthquakes in Mexico. Horrible earthquakes. Hundreds of people dead. And our condolences are out to those people. Not to be a downer. But I just wanted to bring something up real quick. AAA is having fundraising events. So if you're in Mexico, or even if you want to donate through the internet, just look up the AAA website or go to the AAA's Twitter. And, do your part if you want to help these people out. It's wrestling helping out people.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That is a great thing.
Okay.
All right,
Jeffrey. Now, we're going to move on to a question I had. I had a question. Is Goldberg legend? Whoa! Did the laughter have to happen? Did the laughter have to happen?
I might have misheard you. What was that question again? I'm sorry.
Is Goldberg a legend? And I can't remember who said it, but there was a guy that was very reputable that said Goldberg was a legend. And at first, that was my response, was laughter. But then, you know what? I don't know if he's a legend or not, because think about it. He was in the WWE and was a champion there. He was in WCW and was a champion there. He's been at WrestleMania countless times, which is the peak of anything. He wrestled against the greats like Triple H, Hulk Hogan. Does that not make you a legend in this business? Is the fact that he can't really... Is the fact that he probably needs to be able to work with somebody that can make him look kind of good? Make him not a legend? Or what? What makes a pro wrestler a legend is my question, That's a super hard question.
As you said that, I had a couple of thoughts. Is Goldberg a legend, or is the story of Goldberg legendary, maybe?
Oh, that's a very...
I could say he's the legend of the squash match. He's a legend of the squash match, but we'll go back to what I said previously, because that's actually... That's a great question.
And it is a great question, because even though he has some shit matches, as we all remember, wasn't it WrestleMania 10 where he fought Brock Lesnar?
That was 20, and this past year, too, but...
So WrestleMania, he wrestled Brock Lesnar, and he, they got booed out of the building.
The only pop of the night was when it was over and Stone Cold stunned them both.
Part of me finds it funny because a lot of people thought those guys didn't respect the business. They didn't respect the business, so a lot of people were like, screw them. But at the same time, I can't tell if they were... I wonder if those people would have been booing if, say, WrestleMania 20 would have been held in, I don't know, fucking Iowa. Or Seattle, or Florida,
or somewhere like Lesnar territory, or even
somewhere
in the South, like
somewhere that. I mean, I love New York, but goddamn, New York can be insane. They expect a lot there. When you go wrestle there, they expect a lot.
Well, remember how dead the Brooklyn crowd was for the SummerSlam weekend?
Yeah.
And the beach ball incident, but you all know about that. We're not talking about that.
You know what? Speaking of beach ball incidents, man.
Uh-oh.
Dude, I have this story, right? It's not even a story. It's just something that happened to me. Dear God, one of the worst wrestling shows I ever been to. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the show. I don't remember who I wrestled. I don't remember any of the people. I just remember it was a bad wrestling show. And I remember it was like, first of all, it was kind of bad because it was like a lot of matches. It was around like 13 matches. So the crowd started getting restless. It was in an area that wasn't, it was
for a local indie show.
It was a pretty crazy area, which is cool for if you want to have a wrestling show there because the fans get into it. However, by the time the fifth match came, the fans threw a beach ball in the motherfucking ring. I'm talking during the match, and if that wasn't bad enough, we're sitting there going, "Oh my God, these people just don't give a fuck about this show. Why are they even here?" Someone throws a hot dog bun. In an empty hot dog bun.
What?
Not with the hot dog in it, just a fucking empty hot dog bun makes itself in the ring, which I hate to say this, but the fucking show was working. I'm surprised somebody didn't use it as a goddamn weapon. And it was so weird, and it's like, sometimes I feel like you got to have a little bit of a dignity when you run a wrestling show.
Yeah.
Like, you got to make it a little bit professional, and if these fans were doing these kinds of things in the middle of the show to the wrestlers, you gotta have security escort those motherfuckers out. It didn't happen in my match, thank God, because if it would have happened in my match, first I would have been embarrassed. and I would have been like, oh my god, these people hate my match. My fucking feelings are hurt. Then it would have followed up by rage and me throwing shit back.
Throwing everything back.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it was very weird, and that's what I'm saying.
That,
if you're gonna have an indie show, please have control of the fucking fans.
If you're gonna
have security there.
If you're going to have a show, have some production value, whether it's going to be recorded or not.
Exactly.
I mean, that goes a long way. Every little thing
exactly.
counts.
Does it fucking kill you to have a little bit of production value? Hey, bud, how come I'm sitting in the third row and I see right straight into your kitchen where the locker room's at?
Yeah.
Was it that bad? Was it that hard to go get a string, a stick, and put a goddamn curtain in the way?
Because you could put up 10.
Hey, buddy, mow the fucking lawn.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm acting like they're backyard wrestling, and they're not. But some of these people act like it.
If you're talking about the show that I can remember, it was a show from about 10 years ago. I guess I will keep the name out of my mouth as well. But it was a deathmatch show. It was a deathmatch tournament.
Okay. By the way, I love those.
Yes, we love the art of professional wrestling in all forms. You'll find that out soon enough, people.
Yes, you will.
But it was in someone's backyard on a nice acre property, but the wrestler's entranceway was exiting out the back door with the back porch, with people drinking right in front of the screen door that opens for the entranceway.
And that's fine. Door. And that's fine. This is your local high school teenage children trying to wrestle. But these are adults who own a pro wrestling company. Pro wrestling company.
The name has been around for a very long time. I don't want to embarrass them, but it happened in 2008. I'll stop with that. It was just...
Dude, I don't want to talk shit to nobody, because why would you talk shit? It is incredibly hard to run a wrestling show. Yes. It is a bitch being a promoter. You got the wrestlers who are constantly bitching about their pay and about they can't get along with each other. You got the fucking fans who are constantly wanting cheaper ticket prices, cheaper shirts. Being a promoter sucks. But come on, if you're gonna have a wrestling show, have a little bit of fucking dignity for it. Let's have a little bit of dignity and have a little bit of production value. Let's respect it a little bit.
Let's just put it this way: I bought a new sheet set last week for $15 at Walmart.
Dude, exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
We'll move on, I guess, from that point. But just put on a show. It doesn't take that much.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do right now. For this part, we're going to run down the No Mercy.
The No Mercy match card?
Yeah.
Alright.
And the reason why I want to run it down is, it doesn't look like a great pay-per-view on paper.
I seen the promotional picture. It's got Cena and Reigns facing each other, and Lesnar and Strowman.
I want to see Lesnar and Strowman, and I'm not a big fan of Strowman, but I'll admit he's improving, man.
I actually feel like I want to see Cena and Reigns, and that leaves a horrible taste in my mouth. But
you know why? Probably because of how the way they built it up with all those shoots.
Their shoot promos for the last few weeks are making this very realistic, and I'm a fan of realistic wrestling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, but here's the card. We start off with Elias versus Apollo Crews.
Elias versus Apollo Crews?
Yes,
okay.
Elias. I'm sorry if I mess up the names. Fuck you. That's all I can say if you're going to make fun of me for that. Cruiserweight Championship, Neville versus Enzo Amore.
Okay.
Not bad. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Actually, Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, I'm down for, because Bray Wyatt's one of my favorite guys in the WWE. Yes. Even though they keep shoving that ass, shoving that stick in that ass.
Yeah.
I love
Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is near and dear to my heart, we'll say. And Finn Balor is a great talent, founder of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Prince Devitt. And his demon gimmick against Finn Balor goes very well, but we'll see what they do with it.
The next match is one of my favorite tag teams is in it. The Raw Tag Team Championship. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Dude, I can't get enough of Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of them. God, they're like the best tag team I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Sheamus. Sheamus is awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of awesome, Intercontinental Championship, The Miz versus Jason Jordan. Now, everybody right now can crucify me. You can try to fucking talk shit. Who's Jason Jordan?
I felt the same way. I sometimes forget while I'm in the bathroom who's wrestling. I don't mean to do that. Jason Jordan is a great talent.
I know. I bet you he sounds like a guy that's probably... Wait a minute. Is Jason Jordan that Kurt Angle guy?
The Kurt Angle's son, Jason Jordan.
See, the whole Kurt Angle son thing's weird, but God, sir, Jason Jordan, I take the insult back completely.
You are very talented.
I've seen your work. You are a fucking savage, sir. You know what I mean? I apologize.
It's the son of Angle thing that is making him forgetful. He is very talented.
Yeah, that's a badass fucking talent.
And his old partner Chad Gable, who is more like Angle than Jason Jordan is, but different conversation.
Okay,
we're great together. So
all right, moving on up. Raw Women's Championship. I always like to see the ladies. Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax versus Emma versus Bayley. I'm down with all those chicks in there. Nia Jax could use some work, but I've been giving her a chance. It's just she's a big woman, but doesn't seem aggressive for a big woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she seems
which
to
is
be
very weird.
The aggression.
You know what I would like her to be like.
She's supposed to be.
Hey Nia, go hit up fucking Awesome Kong. Mm-hmm. Go hit up Awesome Kong. Give that girl a call and be like, hey, teach me. Because damn, that bitch will teach you. Yeah, she'll tell you how to do it.
She's already that style of character. She just needs that little push in the right direction.
Yep. And the match you said that you were probably looking forward to, which, storyline-wise, I'm looking forward to it just because they shot so hard on each other in their interviews, and they had that whole thing going on. John Cena versus Roman Reigns. I don't know if the match is going to be a 5-star match or anything like that.
I'm not expecting that.
But it should be entertaining.
I'm actually expecting that this is another whole internet wishing thing. This might be the thing that pushes Roman Reigns into being a heel instead of the face.
You're right.
He's been very heely during these.
You're right.
These encounters they've had the last few weeks. So I'm thinking that, but my ideas never make it to TV anymore.
Anyways, Universal Championship, the main event: Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. Believe it or not, man, I've never really gave Braun Strowman a chance. I saw him a couple times on television. I didn't really pay attention. I would always say that he sucked just because I had this thing about big men always sucking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All the big guys sometimes a lot of times are just slow and
it's got to be really special
shitty
for me to...
Yeah, and this guy looks like he can hang with Brock, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of wrestling and stuff, I think it could be a good match.
I have to agree with that. Like, if there's somebody that's believable enough to beat Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman fits that bill.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hitting the 30-minute mark here. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the other half of the show. See ya. And we're back. We're back from our little break for the second half of the show. And, you know what I want to talk about real quick? Like, wacky gimmicks. You know how WWE does a lot of wacky gimmicks?
Yep.
I know those get a lot of hate, but in a pro wrestling show, there's nothing wrong with having a fucking wacky gimmick.
It's part of wrestling.
You know, a lot of times I feel like these hardcore fans, the ones that watch nothing but New Japan, I don't watch anything but Japan and Ring of Honor, I feel like a lot of them take themselves too goddamn seriously sometimes.
Yes.
Because if you want to talk about how Japan is better, if you want to talk about how Japan is always serious and it's the fighting spirit, I've fucking seen Tajiri come out of an egg.
I've seen some very hilarious
I've seen Tajiri come out of an egg in Japan, and I've seen someone bust out a genie. They were having a wrestling match. I can't remember the name of this company. It was in Japan. They were having a wrestling match, and this guy gets in the middle of the ring, busts out a lamp, rubs it, and a genie makes his way down the entranceway. So let's all have a little bit of sense of humor, because I'm sick of hearing of, I only like strong style. I only like the stuff that's tough. And you know what? So, because I love the WWE. You know what I love that they're doing right now? There's this guy named the Velveteen Dream. Now, this wrestler, apparently he's been with WWE for a little while, you know. They just couldn't really find a good gimmick for him at one point, which is very weird because he's a black man, and a lot of African American men don't really like this, but they actually made him a Trump supporter, which was weird. They would make him come out with like a Trump shirt, a Trump hat. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now he's called the Velveteen Dream. Now, the Velveteen Dream is he's like a gay character. You know what I'm saying? He's like a gay character. In my opinion, he's the new Goldust. The WWE has finally hit the jackpot on how to portray that type of character in this modern era. You know how Goldust was breakthrough back then? Mm-hmm. This is what this guy is now.
Very much.
Dude, I love this. I love his gimmick. This past weekend, or not this past weekend, but recently on NXT, he's feuding apparently with that guy that crosses his legs all the time in the middle of the ring. Like he'll
Aleister Black. Really?
Yeah.
I missed NXT.
I promise you.
So.
Yep, I caught up on it a little bit. He's feuding with that guy. Well, Velveteen Dream came out did his thing, did something of a promo, then Black,
Aleister Black.
Yeah, Aleister Black pretty much challenged him, got down on his all fours.
Mm-hmm.
What he did? No, wait a minute. He did something to like shove them or push them or something, and then he got down on Indian style, and he was pretty much telling him like, "Come on, then, let's go." Well, you figured that guy would get aggressive back since he just got hit, but no. Instead, he crawls to him. It looks like he's gonna, it's very, very implications of sexual innuendo. But dude, it was very entertaining, and I hope that character succeeds, and I hope the Velveteen Dream makes it onto the main roster.
Especially for someone that's...
Dude, it looks
had to work so hard to get to that point.
Exactly, and that guy obviously put in the work.
He looks a little bit like Prince,
and that guy,
I noticed.
Yeah, he does.
But that works.
Not only that...
I agree, I like this.
Not only that, but it's like... someone like that deserves that kind of shot.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working, even if it's only been 5-6 years, whatever. I don't really know how long he's been in the business, but I know for a fact that from what I've read, he's been in the business long enough to where he's put in his time, man. Let's try to take care of people like that, people that care about the industry. Yeah. Sometimes it's a good idea to keep the people that give a shit.
The ones
you know
that
what I mean?
And back. The ones that take the abuse.
And nurture those people so that they help the business grow, because they're actually going to want your business to grow.
Yes.
Not these football players, these half bodybuilders that come into the business and they're only in it for the money, or like, or you know what, or maybe some of them aren't even in it for the money. Some of these guys that come in are in it just for the fame.
Yeah,
because they want people to know them, and it's like, dude,
they all think they're going to be
needs
the
to take
Rock.
more care of the people that actually like it.
Yes,
of the wrestlers that are actually passionate, and that's why I don't know whose thing it is. I think it's Triple H. That's why I want to say whoever at WWE that's bringing in all these indie guys, that's letting them get their shot, like AJ Styles, even though they waited till he was like 38 fucking years old. You know what I mean? Daniel Bryan, all these guys. I'm glad they're giving all these guys opportunities. Anywho, there's another thing that I fucking had me cracking up. I'm not gonna delve too much into this because there's nothing really much to speak of, but I'm sorry, that shit was hilarious, and it belongs with any wacky segment on Raw or SmackDown or whatever. They had this guy named Kurt Hawkins come out and start talking about his defeated streak. Now I'm sitting there.
His what?
Defeated streak.
Yep,
not undefeated. His loss record, and he's bragging about it. I'm sitting there on my computer. I have a soda next to me, the unhealthy fucking soda, because I'm an unhealthy motherfucker at the moment. And I'm sitting there drinking, and I'm thinking this guy is talking about, I'm the best, I'm undefeated, nobody's beating me. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they're doing the kind of like the Goldberg thing, where someone's undefeated and nobody can beat them. No, dude. I was listening wrong the whole fucking time.
Yeah,
he's talking about how proud he was of being defeated.
I misheard you when you said it, too. I missed it again this week.
Yeah, when I was speaking to you in the back before we started the show.
Yeah, that defeated streak. No words.
He was in the ring and he sat there and he grabbed the microphone and he was all, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I continue the greatest defeated streak of all time. And, dude, it was so fucking wacky. Point of all this is, wackiness is good sometimes in pro wrestling.
It has a place. I don't want the whole show to be that way.
No, nobody wants the whole show to be that way. It should be a good, maybe one segment, maybe 2 segments at the most, that don't take too long.
I take that back. We don't watch Chikara, but...
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, Chikara is very, very gimmicky.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gimmicks all in one show. It's a lot of colors, a lot of things to bring in.
Yeah.
I don't advocate for drugs, but fuck. It's like a...
Yes, okay.
Anywho, Jeff, you wanted something to talk about?
Oh, well, this weekend, as we said, No Mercy will be later on today. This has been a big weekend for pay-per-views. We had ROH Death Before Dishonor on Friday. There was a few title changes.
I love Ring of Honor.
Yes, I love Ring of Honor.
We've watched Ring of Honor for over a decade.
We were maybe a couple years late, but we saw from the beginning.
Oh, from the beginning.
From the beginning.
With the red ring and Samoa Joe versus Loki. And
in the basketball arena.
In basketball arenas, yep.
We've seen everybody's first matches, like ROH is my
And Death Before Dishonor was always one of their big shows.
Yes, and it's still around. The big match of the night was going to be Cody Rhodes versus Minoru Suzuki.
Dude, I really would want to watch that match.
I want to see it too.
We have not watched the show.
Yes, we have not seen the show.
We will be watching the shows. We will be watching them. We'll be ordering them.
Yes,
and we'll be catching up.
Exactly. We know the results though of that match. Cody did retain his title. I somehow wonder how, because Minoru Suzuki is a monster, violent, horrible man. Dude,
Minoru. I want to slap myself, warm hand to the fucking face, for the fact that I have not watched enough Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah.
That guy is actually really good. even though he's a fucking asshole.
He looks like he might be the biggest asshole ever, and I've been searching for the biggest asshole in professional wrestling probably my whole life.
Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine if you had to wrestle that guy?
Yeah.
What would you do if you had to wrestle that guy and that guy just walks up to you and you try to go work a match with him and he just looks at you and is like, "We'll just call it in the ring." Usually when we'll just call it in the ring.
I don't know if I should say this on air and in public. Put me in the Kimura, screaming, break it, as I jam a spike into Minoru Suzuki's stomach, laughing maniacally as he snaps my arm. I live, he's gonna die.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that.
3 or 4 years ago, that was Brock Lesnar I said those things about, so it's all changed.
Anyways, go on.
Okay, so that was the main event for that pay-per-view.
I bet you it was a killer match.
I can't wait to see it.
Please keep bringing Suzuki
I want to
back.
see how Minoru Suzuki, old school strong style, meets up against somebody completely WWE trained that is the best wrestler, most popular wrestler on the indies right now. I'm really interested to see how those two styles are going to mash up. I know it will be a good match. The other big thing was that the ROH tag titles have changed hands.
Whoa! ROH tag title changed hands. Didn't the Young Bucks have those for the longest fucking time?
Don't the Young Bucks always have those?
Man, don't the Young Bucks own every tag team in all of the indies?
Yeah, if there's a tag title, it's not on the Young Bucks.
Aren't the Young Bucks
I wonder
the
why.
indies?
Yeah, they are the indies, pretty much. And yeah, if there's a
which,
tag
by the way,
belt-
I'm sorry to break everybody's little heart. The Young Bucks are awesome. I love the Young Bucks. I will fucking always pay a ticket to go watch those motherfuckers. But guess what? They're very Hardy Boyish.
Oh yeah. He pointed it out to me. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. So to all you fans, and we want to apologize for the cats. It's just there's pets here. Eventually, see, we got this studio, and in the studio, there's the owner of the studio is letting us borrow his place, his office, to do this stuff, and he has cats. We have to deal with it.
Yes,
Eventually, we'll have a more space. Just bear with us, folks. It's not a fucking big deal. We all love cats. It's the internet, right? Cats and cheeseburgers.
Exactly.
And porn.
Cats has cheeseburgers, and you love cat memes.
Exactly.
So all you hear in the background is real life cat memes in action. There we go.
I think the cat's name is Cheeseburger. So there you go. Two of your favorite things all in one.
There you go. Problem solved.
Anyways,
where was I? Oh, okay.
Death Before Dishonor.
Death Before Dishonor.
The Young Bucks lost their tag team championships. Who did you lose them to?
To the Motor City Machine Guns.
Woo! Yes. I love the Motor City Machine Guns,
I love
dude.
those guys.
Dude, those guys, even in TNA, even though I didn't really like TNA at the time that much, they were really good tag team in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great tag team.
Yes, they're a great tag team. They're great on their own, but they're better together. I remember seeing Sabin here at a local indie in California a few years back.
You saw Chris Sabin live, huh?
Yes, I did.
Enjoyed yourself or what?
Yes. I like to go to my local indies as often as I can.
Did he slap you with his dick?
I'll only let Okada do that.
Oh, God.
Anyways.
Moving on.
It was the Bucks, the Addiction, and the Motor City Machine Guns. And Machine Guns came out on top, and that's all I know so far for the other pay-per-views. I have not, or the other pay-per-view this weekend. I haven't seen it yet. We also had New Japan Destruction in Kobe, the end of their tour.
Oh yeah, there you go. Speaking of going overseas, yeah, that's right. New Japan Destruction in Kobe, huh?
Yes.
Now wait a minute, were the Young Bucks on that show? Because I know they were. Oh, they weren't on that show.
I don't think they. No, they weren't because ROH was this Friday and Destruction in Kobe was Saturday night, Sunday morning for Japan. So
we gotta research stuff like that because we gotta research this. And if anybody out there on Twitter, Facebook, anything wants to message us, just let us know because how are the contracts work over there? Because at first I saw the Young Bucks and Omega over there all the time. Now I see them over there sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's weird because people like, for example, Okada, that guy's there all the time. Every single show, big or small.
Well, he's New Japan, like exclusive contract. I don't know for sure. I know Omega's New Japan over ROH, but he's done an ROH show here, the War of the Worlds in Toronto, back in May, was it, I think? Right before the G1 special here in America. So I know the Young Bucks, I think, are more primarily contracted to ROH this year.
I see.
New Japan does, like, year-long contracts usually.
Okay. Well, you know what? If anybody has more information, you know where to hit us up.
Yeah, let us know, actually.
Yep.
I mean, we can do the research, but I'd rather have you tell me.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing. That's another reason why we do this podcast, because we can do all the research in the world, but sometimes it's good to talk to other people that are in love with pro wrestling. And this is what this podcast is geared to, is people that like it and can admit what's wrong with it and can admit what's right with it. You know, that you can have a good discussion. Sometimes pro wrestling pisses us off. Sometimes pro wrestling makes us feel good. It's all, it's all different every time. So let's just all be a good community. Let's all just fucking talk shit with each other, enjoy this business, and help pro wrestling grow. That's the whole point of things like this, is to help pro wrestling grow. Because we all loved it. We just gotta seep through the shit sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's plenty of it out there.
Anyways, go on, New Japan.
Yeah, the New Japan Destruction and Kobe. Once again, I'm only going to cover the big singles title that was on the line on the show, and the heavyweight tag titles, because I don't think that the junior tag titles weren't on the line for this show. It was later on, or earlier on in this tour. I'm just doing specifically Destruction and Kobe. Okay, and obviously everybody probably wondered who was going to win this match, the triple threat tag team heavyweight tag team title match.
Okay, look.
Oh, make you wait.
Okay, look. What's up with it's hella funny how there's different styles. Like in a lot of Mexico and Japan is very different from America. Like a lot of they do a lot of 6-man tags over there, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, the 6-man tag title.
To the point where they'll have a 6-man tag title. You think that shit'll work in the WWE ever?
I don't think so.
Why not?
The WWE has a weak tag team division.
And don't say it's because the fans are too stupid.
No,
it's not.
It's none of my regular reasons, which it wouldn't be that. The WWE doesn't have a very strong tag division. They break up tag teams left and right, and they have maybe 3 or 4 on each show right now. There's more tag teams in NXT than there is on the main roster.
They
need to bring some of them up, to be honest, immediately to make the tag team.
I'm going to be on the positive side, even though WWE's proven us wrong throughout history. I'm going to say the reason why there's all those tag teams in NXT is because they're molding them. And hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, because I was always a big fan of tag team wrestling. You know what else got me into pro wrestling a lot? Back in the day was the Hart Foundation and the Rockers and stuff like that.
Yes.
Those tag teams were awesome. And hell, I'll even give the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys credit. They got me into tag team wrestling too. But way before that, I've always enjoyed tag team wrestling. It's just somewhere along the line, once the Hollywood writers came in, they just killed it.
Doesn't hold tag team wrestling in such high regard.
But why not? That's like a perfect. It's like
it's a part of wrestling.
Yeah, and it's like it used to be like this. It used to be the World Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, and the tag team titles. And that shit was like everything. Yes. If you had the tag team titles, dude, you were hella badass, and you usually kept the belt for a while.
Yeah, the tag team titles meant something.
Yeah,
I feel like
I missed that.
Yeah,
but it feels like they're trying.
They are trying. It's on the right path.
Okay, but is tag team wrestling in WWE shitty, or is tag team wrestling in all of the indies in the United States shitty? I'm not talking about internationally or anything, but like in the United States, like Ring of Honor.
I don't know.
Does Ring of Honor have like a strong tag team division?
Well, the 3 teams that were involved in the title match this weekend, kind of it. I mean, they have the Briscoes, they have the Addiction, they have the Bucks, they have the Machine Guns. I know there's a few others. I just can't think of them off the top of my head right now, really. I don't know. It is a good point. ROH may only have about as many tag teams as each brand of the WWE actually has. Now that I think about it, because I haven't stopped to think about that.
Yeah,
I can think about the prior years' abuse of the tag title. In the WWE.
Anyways, that's one thing we can't really bitch about. If we don't get the tag team action here in the United States, we'll get it overseas with New Japan.
You'll definitely get it if you watch one New Japan show.
Watch the Lucha shows.
And the Lucha shows.
All the Lucha shows have a lot of fucking of those kind of matches.
It's a good way to show all your talent without having them all work brutal singles matches.
6-man tag team championship.
The 6-man tag team championship. At New Japan. Oh, no. That was just the regular heavyweight, IWGP heavyweight tag team titles. It was a triple threat tag match.
Then where the fuck did you get 6-man from?
We were talking about the ROH.
Okay, buddy.
6-man. Not at this exact moment, though. All right.
All right, go
on. Moving on. It was a triple threat tag match for the IWGP heavyweight tag titles. War Machine was champions going in. The Guerrillas of Destiny, who have been...
I like War Machine, by the way. I think they're fucking awesome.
I love War Machine. Big guys, I love War Machine. Great tag team together. Totally works. Everything about it. They lost to the Killer Elite Squad, which is Davey Boy Smith and Lance Hoyt. Lance Archer, I'm not sure what they're calling him right now. You would probably know him as Lance Archer. Kurt Hawking's old partner that we were talking about earlier has moved on to New Japan.
Hold on. Hold your horses real quick. Davey Boy Smith Jr., how long was his reign in WWE?
I don't know. They were doing the whole Hart Dynasty thing. I was a fan of it.
Because my thing is this. That guy has been in the wrestling business since he was a child, probably.
Yeah.
Because of his father. why in the fuck would WWE not want to keep him? Now, I understand that maybe he's not the best promo.
Mm-hmm.
He looks a little generic, I guess. Some people were saying, that's one of the criticisms I read online. He's a little generic. But for God's sakes, WWE, you revamp all these other motherfuckers. You couldn't revamp that guy into something worth selling?
Yeah, try again.
Does that guy not look like a guy that gives a fuck about wrestling a little bit?
I mean, he's in Suzuki Gun now. He's some sort of an enforcer like character.
You know what?
It's
I'm
working.
happy for him.
I'm happy
for him because he's probably doing really well over there.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is this. I'm going to be straight up the fuck honest. And I don't give a fuck. Like, I guarantee you working in Japan and working the indies and working all this is not as good as working in WWE. Even though there's money to be made in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say this is because the style of work you got to do in Japan is a lot more physical, man.
Yeah. It definitely
It can't be fun going on those tours and getting beat the fuck up like that. It's not fun when you do it in WWE, but you learn how to work a more different pace.
Schedule.
Yep.
Okay, and finally, the match that you guys all probably do want to know the results to, that you probably already have heard at this point.
You know what? I am just sick of it. You know what? I'm sorry, indie fans. I know he's talented, but I fucking hate Kenny Omega. And this morning, I had to wake up to a friend of mine. The first thing I wake up to is a fucking gif of a smiling, cocky Kenny Omega. Fuck you, Kenny Omega, for being handsome. Fuck you for being talented. I hate you. Good for the guy, though. He's making his good money. He's good for the business.
Yes, he is good for the business. Kenny retained his U.S. IWGP United States Championship from Juice Robinson. I mean, I knew he would. Juice Robinson is a good wrestler, but he's got some work to go.
Yeah, I've heard nothing about good things about Juice Robinson. I've watched some of his stuff. He's not bad.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not gonna criticize because I haven't watched too much.
WWE let him go from developmental. He was C.J. Parker.
Okay.
And I don't know when New Japan picked him up, but he's going to come a long way. And one day he's going to be one of the people we're talking about as one of the greats, I'm pretty sure. But can he beat him? Can he still IWGP?
So IWGP United States Champion Kenny Omega defeated Juice Robinson.
Yep.
You know what? I might not be the biggest fan of Omega or the fucking Bullet Club. It actually makes me sick. The whole Too Sweet, the whole DX, I hate it. But they're all very talented guys. I'm super happy for their success. I just, they're heroes to me. I like hating them. And Kenny Omega, I hope he keeps that United States IWGP Championship for a long time.
Yeah, give it a good build-up.
I hope because he's a guy that can bring respect to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have fun booing him on the shows.
Yeah, we were there. We were there when he won it, and you were like, "He won. Let's go."
Yeah.
I wanted to stay.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're done.
Days like this is when I wish he would wrestle someone like Kenta Kobashi back in the day. That would have been great.
I know he fought Suzuki at the beginning of the G1.
And speaking of Suzuki and Kenta Kobashi and Omega and all that, on a future show, we're going to talk about how strong style has evolved. Mm-hmm. There used to be a strong style in Japan. Everybody's in love with strong style now. Yeah. Everybody's into strong style. They love it.
That makes me sick.
It's a more evolved version of strong style.
Yes.
It's a little bit different than what we grew up watching.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely different.
But we're 20 minutes in. It's already halfway through the segment. This is the end of the show. Well, we're more than halfway through the segment. We're at the end of the show. Sorry, folks.
This is going to be the end.
I'm trying to close this shit. And no, not because I'm going to go smoke weed and drink beer and watch No Mercy. That's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a nice protein shake and No Mercy. Yeah, that's it.
yeah. It's not time constraints for drinking.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. I'm Abe.
I'm Jeff.
Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube. Late.
Have fun in the Indies.